It's the week of Hollow Knight Silksong, so good luck to all the other developers releasing their games this week, where dates are subject to change as developers move out of the way of this behemoth, where the smaller than usual week led me to cover some bigger grey area titles from larger studios. So let's begin with JETRUNNER, a gravity-defying parkour FPS where you compete in the fast-paced, futuristic sport of jet running, blazing through arenas, hitting perfect shots and climbing leaderboards through flawless speed and style. You jump, wall run, vault, slide, grapple and blast through over 60 handcrafted arenas using 6 futuristic gadgets that adds flair to your runs, all driven by precision and momentum. There's a narrative which follows Neyyah White as she ascends in fame, being very Neon White-like but different enough and looks pretty fun. An inventory management roguelite is Overlooting, where you play as a mismatched trio as this group attempts to fight back the corruption using looted gear and constantly changing builds. You are battling enemies and bosses and gaining gear along the way, with your equipment forming the core parts of the strategy in each run as you work towards powerful set bonuses by equipping the right items. There's a randomized skill tree in each run to add even more variety, with great pixel art looking kind of mega loot inspired, so let's see what's different here. This video is brought to you by Endless Tactics, a turn-based roguelite tactics title where you play as the commander of a high-risk planetary mining operation. Your mission is to gather as many valuable resources as possible while defending your base from alien creatures at all costs, then extracting back to your ship before it's too late. In terms of gameplay, you have to select and manage a variety of units, from military vehicles to towering mechs, to fend off the deadly alien hordes, being a tactical title where your decisions matter as you weigh the pros and cons of every move, sacrificing troops if needed. In between runs, gathered resources can be used to upgrade your starship, unlocking new technologies and power-ups which enables you to venture into even more dangerous and profitable procedurally generated worlds, each providing fresh mechanics and variety to keep things interesting. Made for and by fans of this subgenre, so if you are one, try the free demo and wishlist the game. A brutal first-person action roguelite is Daemon Blades, where you hack and slash your way through the demonic hordes as a warrior monk from a shadowy cult known as Secreta, battling twisted creatures across 9 dynamic biomes to suppress an otherworldly incursion consuming reality. Your mentor, the Hermit, has betrayed the Order and has vanished into chaos, leaving you to bring him to justice, and so our adventure begins. Play solo or in co-op for up to 4 players, going on expeditions, hacking, slashing and adapting as you loot and craft diamond-infused weapons that evolves your character during a run, with meta progression for lasting upgrades between attempts as well. According to the Steam page, you will face over 20 enemy types and 4 bosses in this early access version, each demanding quick reflexes and different tactics to handle. Your equipment grows stronger over time, but beware, since these are diamond-infused weapons after all, having to resist their corruptive nature, looking like an absolute stunner, so if you love first-person melee, this will be of note. For some reason, we have quite a number of first-person titles this week, another of which is Tokyo Underground Killer, a neon-soaked first-person slasher where you step into the shoes of an assassin named Kobayashi, the notorious Shinjuku vampire, with the ability to use blood to power his attacks, infiltrating Tokyo's criminal underground in order to stop a group known as the Flatliners from terrorizing Tokyo. You slash, stab and parry through hordes of deranged enemies, relying on supernatural blood skills to turn the tide, using these to take out your enemies and then to absorb their blood to refill your health and skills. You are fighting through neon-soaked versions of real-life locations in Tokyo, such as Shinjuku, Akihabara and Shibuya, while the bizarre story unfolds, told in part through hand-drawn comic panels. Interestingly, you're free to roam between missions and even have your own apartment which you can decorate, as well as play mini-games in the city, which I did not expect from a game like this. It looks pretty sick and fast-paced, with a dose of magic and guns as well, and will be for action game fans. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. Soothe weary souls in the tranquil cafe simulation Kemono Teatime, set in the cozy town of Melodious, where animal-eared patrons visit your cafe for a drink and for some comfort, and might be more emotional than you might think. You're making drinks using 9 types of black teas, 15 herbs, and even secret ingredients, getting to know the customers and to craft something special for them. There is an ASMR kind of appeal to this game, with all the sounds and effects of making the drinks, with the background music changing to suit the customer as well. So here's where it gets a little deeper. For each and every one of your customers, this will be the last time they enter your cafe before the lights go out. So yes, it is about death and acceptance, as every moment with them is to be savoured. So hopefully you can brew a drink that they will be happy with in order to leave a lasting memory. I don't know if it's a cafe for the terminally ill, or if this is in some sort of purgatory as you soothe these souls to help them find peace and move on, looking to bring a tear or two to your eye, and looks like coffee talk crossed with Spiritfarer. I love the pixel art as well, so it's interesting to see the bartending game expand out just a little bit and will be for narrative game fans. Other games begin with Casebook 1899 The Leipzig Murders, a painstakingly handcrafted detective adventure game where you must investigate 4 chilling murder cases and root out the true culprits in the shadowed industrial era city in 1899. You explore richly detailed pixel art scenes ranging from foggy streets, train stations, and town squares, gathering clues, questioning suspects, and recording observations in your notebook to piece together the leads. You then arrange facts on your deduction board to build your case and determine who is responsible, with your choice of suspect affecting the outcome. And it seems like you might be able to convict an innocent, which then leaves the true killer to get away scot-free. But there's no game over screen, and you just have to live with the consequences of your actions. It is very old school looking, part of the reason why I appreciate indie game developers in 2025, and also has full German voice acting, being an impressive, classically made one of these. Like I said, I have to include some bigger titles this week, not quite AAA, but these are no small teams either, with Daemon X Machina, Titanic, Scion coming to us from Marvelous, who might be better known as the publisher of Story of Seasons and Rune Factory at this point, but they do still have their own development team, with this being the follow-up to Daemon X Machina from 2020. This is a mech action title where you pilot a customizable arsenal suit to rescue humanity by dismantling the oppressive sovereign Axiom regime and defeating towering alien threats across a hostile planet. You engage in fluid aerial and ground combat, and apparently can explore the world on foot, by flying, or on horseback for some reason, which is interesting, going from swamps to plains to mountains before your next combat encounter. You can salvage equipment from defeated foes to fine-tune your loadout, with this being faster paced as compared to something like Armored Core. Still, the action looks intense and sick as hell, so if you love giant robots and cool designs, this should be of note. We also have the playtest of Dark Swarm this week, a relentless co-op tactical shooter that sure looks like Helldivers 1, complete with friendly fire, where Ghost Ship is publishing this, makers of Deep Rock Galactic, so I'm sure that they know what they're looking for in a co-op game, and you can request access via their Steam page. You lead a squad of elite operators infiltrating alien-infested colonies to destroy the Dark Swarm threat in order to save humanity from an existential level threat. Explore procedurally generated semi-destructible environments as you coordinate stealth, hacking, and tactical maneuvers under pressure. You choose from 4 distinct classes in Assault, Engineer, Infiltrator, and Support, each equipped with unique weapons and weaponry, so teamwork and coordination will be critical. Enemies attack in overwhelming numbers, demanding pinpoint execution and adaptability to survive, looking pretty sick as well, and I think they're doing the right thing by conducting these playtests to gather feedback before even an early access launch, a strategy that I've seen developers increasingly use and could be the next big thing given that Helldivers 2 is in third person now, so there's a gap in the market for a title like this. A number of you did bring up Hell Is Us in the comments and emails to me as well, but this comes to us from Rogue Factor, which is a mid-sized team and has Nakon as its publisher, so I wouldn't consider this exactly to be indie, but it's a $50 game and not a full price title. This is of interest to me, since it's a weird mishmash of genres and ideas, being a Souls-like detective drama, where you play as a former UN peacekeeper turned investigator, navigating the war-torn nation of Neyyah to find your parents and to confront the supernatural fallout of a catastrophic event. You explore an atmospheric, semi-open world, piecing together clues through environmental storytelling and conversations, since there are no quest markers, maps, or even a compass, and might be frustrating. Combat is visceral and punishing, where for some reason you're using swords, axes, or polearms against these monsters, but also have access to a drone, while having to keep an eye on your stamina and the scarce healing available to you. Enemies here look paranormal and apparently are the monstrous physical embodiments of grief, rage and terror, so yes, very weird and interesting, so I'm curious about the reception, although they are going head to head with Silksong, so good luck to them. Hirogami is not an indie game despite looking like one, coming to us from Bandai Namco Singapore and Malaysia, where the Singapore office was recently set up, and hey, supports local and all that, so here's me chipping in. This is a 3D action platformer set in the beautiful origami papercraft world where you play as Hiro, a fan-building origami master on a quest to save your fragile homeland from a deadly digital blight. You shift into various animal-inspired paper forms like an armadillo to roll through hazards, an ape to smash enemies, or a frog to scale great heights, even extending to non-animal forms like a paper plane to glide through the world. Use these forms to solve puzzles, battle enemies, and to progress forward. And as you cleanse these corrupted foes, you will restore entire sections of the world. The environment looks like a living paper diorama with bright folded textures and a deliberate low frame rate that mirrors stop-motion animations and looks very charming. Still, I'm not liking the odds given the release date, but here's wishing them all the best. Yet another first-person title is Neyyah, this time a first-person point-and-click adventure game whose most direct comparison and probably inspiration would be Myst, down to having FMV characters talking to you. You awaken on a strange island and must solve puzzles to activate ancient portals so that you can return home, while also safeguarding a vanished civilization in the process. This is set on a chain of remote, seemingly abandoned islands, so you are poking around remote landscapes filled with rusted levers, portal systems, and clues etched into the abandoned ruins, using careful observation and logic to connect mechanical contraptions and to understand the lives that came before. Control the game via a point-and-click interface, assessing your surroundings at your own pace, having 4 types of movement transitions in off, speed, neutral, and relax, as well as a faster travel option to skip through travel sequences, having something for everyone and might be ideal if the first-person camera movement gives you motion sickness. The environments are rendered in rich, high-fidelity, pre-rendered visuals paired with atmospheric sound design and a haunting soundtrack that deepens this immersive puzzle experience, looking like it's for fans of the genre. A sci-fi action-adventure game is Otherskin, where you must discover the truth behind the spreading corruption. Side note, a lot of that going on this week on the alien world of Vandermeer by completing a lethal solo mission as the 13th volunteer. You land on Vandermeer equipped with an advanced AI-powered suit that engage enemies whose defeat lets you absorb alien morphs, powerful mutations that grant new movement and combat abilities and reshapes your approach. You upgrade your suits mid-mission to enhance weapon performance, life support and agility, seamlessly switching between melee and range attacks in fluid combat. The alien biomes look pretty diverse, some warped by the corruption more than others, ranging from flashy caverns to overgrown wastelands, with different areas presenting different hazards and challenges, forcing you to adapt. The evolution and mutation aspect of the game is the most interesting part, so I do wonder how many there are, but there's no mention of the structure of the game, if it is open world, linear, or more Metroidvania inspired, with backtracking due to the new abilities, which allows you to access new areas. Still, this looks like a pretty interesting sci-fi title coming to us from French studio Game Atelier, whose previous title was Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom from 2019, so it has been a while and I'm excited to see what they have made. I've covered Rogue Labyrinth a number of times and I'm happy to share its release, being a chaotic action roguelite with a narrative where you return to your homeland after 2 years, only to find it conquered by a greedy billionaire who forces you to fight for the throne in his monster-packed Colosseum in a reality TV show. You battle through procedurally generated labyrinth floors split across 4 biomes and packed with hundreds of randomly assembled rooms where each run demands adaptation, strategic movement and clever use of hundreds of abilities. Fight against hired monsters and 7 rival fighters who you can befriend or betray to gain new upgrades, balancing combat with alliances that does affect the narrative. Anything in this game can become a projectile where you're using your bat to swat enemy attacks back at them and thus take advantage of the reality TV setting as you engage spectators to raise your fan meter and to earn boons from sponsors. There are also mini games like Spin the Wheel and a pachinko or plinko-like peg board, as well as a fishing minigame, all wrapped up with great pixel art, even if I do worry that there's too much going on screen. Still, if you love games like Hades, this might be of interest, with it structurally being similar but with a different theme, looking pretty fun and intense. I don't usually play games like SHUTEN Order, since from the outside it looks like a Danganronpa death game to me, but there's something interesting going on here, since it's a different genre depending on which path you choose. Let me explain. A post-apocalyptic cult has formed, which is proclaiming 168 days to the end of the world, gaining enough followers and influence to form their own nation of SHUTEN. However, during a celebration, tragedy strikes and their leader is murdered, and you awaken with no memory of your past, being greeted by 2 self-proclaimed angels who reveal that you are the murdered leader resurrected through divine power. Taking on the alias of Rei Shimobe, you are tasked with uncovering your own murder within 4 days by identifying and killing your murderer. The 5 suspects are the ministers of the SHUTEN Order, which you have to pursue one by one, with this choice affecting the kind of gameplay that is stealth action horror, mystery adventure, visual novel, romance adventure, and extreme escape adventure, which resembles a deadly escape room, so variants on the death game concept but presented in different ways. Each route offers a unique lens into the broader conspiracy as you chase the truth, and the pressure builds as memories and time slips away. Decide who to trust among powerful suspects while facing divine trials and interventions, where failure means you end up permanently dead, with an awesome anime-style presentation and look, and is very intriguing, being the hidden gem of the week. A chaotic local multiplayer party game is Splatterbot, where cleaning robots have gone rogue and your goal is simple: make a bigger mess than anyone else in each timed arena in order to claim victory. Yes, this is very Splatoon-like of course, with a Roomba-looking character as you dash around the vibrant stages, splattering colour everywhere and triggering power-ups that let you speed up, grow in size or activate traps to block rivals. Arenas are filled with dynamic elements such as bouncing walls, hazards and other interactive objects, adding variety and replayability to each map. Controls are intuitive and accessible, designed so anyone can jump in, having up to 4-player support in classic free-for-all or team mode with 2v2 or 3v1 matchups, and looks like a bright, colourful fun time with friends or family. This one's for indie game developers. The free indie game marketing resources are ready, so sign up via the link in the description below to get it in your mailbox. A surreal first-person psychological horror title is Bad Cheese, where you play as a kid mouse who must behave flawlessly to appease your dangerously unpredictable dad while mum is away. You are alone at home for the weekend with an unstable parent and have to complete mundane chores and to generally be a good kid as you scrub and sweep the floors, kill spiders and fetch pills to appease your father. Your goal is straightforward yet tense: stay under the radar, keep daddy calm and survive in a house full of hidden horrors, which extends to the demons living there, which really do have some horrific designs. This is, of course, inspired by the hand-drawn 1920s era animation of Steamboat Willie in particular, but warping the familiar visuals into a nightmare. There are little treats and action figures scattered about the house, which are a form of relief amid the intensity. I'm interested in the structure as well, since this may very well be linear and I wonder how long it is, but it has a memorable art style for sure. Perhaps the wildest release of the week is Toho Farming Minoriko's Homestead Harvest, a charming farming sim where you step into the role of the harvest goddess Minoriko Aki, striving to win hearts and increase faith in you across Gensokyo by growing specialty sweet potatoes and other crops. You cultivate your farm with care, setting up rice fields, constructing an irrigation system with sprinklers and hoses, and upgrading your tools along the way. You mingle with gods and yokai, and might get into a fight or two, mixing in bullet hell shooter elements which I did not expect from a farming game. The farming mechanics are quite involved, since you cannot walk through your crops after they have sprouted, leading to a change in the way you think when laying out the farm. There are side activities like fishing and mining, and you can even go to the wild yokai mountain with mini adventure zones which adds shoot 'em up action and loot. It will also have 2 modes: casual with an unlimited amount of time each day and time only advances when you want it to, or serious mode with a time limit each day and a fixed 2 in-game years to reach your goal of gathering enough faith, as well as added challenges that makes it more difficult, offering something for everyone, but do note that this will be an early access release and is not content complete. A relentless survival horror thriller is Chronos: The New Dawn, where you play as a traveller sent to stop a catastrophic future by rescuing key souls from the past and preventing humanity's descent into monstrosity through time travel. You navigate a brutalist, retro-futurist world beset by a phenomenon called the Change, hopping between a ravaged future and 1980s Poland to extract key personnel who are dead in the future, but are doing so by harvesting their souls and infusing that into your armor. Monsters here look freaky, almost Dead Space necromorph looking, with the twist being that you need to set defeated enemies on fire, otherwise they will merge into even more deadly abominations. Mix melee and ranged weapons while managing scarce resources, having to make split-second tactical choices as you trudge through desolate landscapes and grim industrial ruins. This is from Bloober Team, who most recently redeemed themselves with the Silent Hill 2 remake, so fans are pretty hyped for this for good reason, since it looks very promising. A hyperkinetic sci-fi first-person shooter is Metal Eden, where you play as the advanced hypersuit Asuka, whose objective is to infiltrate the monolithic city Mobius, rescue trapped human consciousness cores, and prevent their erasure. Dash, grapple, wall run, jetpack, or morph into an armored ram ball, combining acrobatics and firepower to survive against relentless waves of enemies. Blast through the internal defense corps, confront the engineers, and neutralize threats in combat in order to progress. The ability to turn into a ball is so weird but interesting, adding third-person action into what is otherwise a first-person game, changing up the flow. Apparently, This is supposed to be level based, with the game having 8 high-octane missions that escalate in complexity and difficulty, blending fluid movement with brutal gunplay and parkour precision. And it's not a roguelite, so if you have been clamoring for a linear FPS, then this will be worth picking up. I love how this game looks, and it's just sci-fi cool, coming to us from the developer of Ruiner, so you can certainly see their penchant for style. Hollow Knight Silksong will be out this week and looks set to take over the world, where the developers just released their pricing and release timing with no pre-orders being available, so expect your respective store pages to crash once the game is available for purchase. I fully expect this to take over the gaming news cycle, at least for a little bit, being the follow-up to the most beloved indie Metroidvania. However, there are some notable differences between this and the original, where Hornet is more nimble and perhaps more glass cannony as compared to the Knight, and parallels the original in interesting ways. For one, instead of descending into a cursed kingdom, you are ascending up one instead, seeking allies, reclaiming legacy, and unearthing your purpose. There appears to be a nice variety of biomes like the original, with a new Silk resource to manage instead of Soul, with the developers revealing that it will have over 200 new enemies and more than 40 formidable bosses, which is very impressive. Oh, and did I mention that it will just be $19.99? In a world where AAA studios are raising prices, that it is being kept at this price for the most anticipated indie game of all time is a tremendous show of restraint, so kudos to the team, and will probably be Game of the Year. Watch this video for the best games of the year so far.